Welcome to Crimson Narratives, the channel where the world's darkest true crime stories are told. Not just as crimes, but as mirrors to society. Here, we explore cases where power silences truth, where love collides with violence, and where justice takes years to arrive. If you want these voices never to fade, stay with us until the end. Tonight, we revisit a murder that exposed the ugly intersection of love, family, honor, and political privilege in India. Delhi, February 2002. The night air was crisp. The city buzzing with wedding celebrations. The season when lights twinkle across the capital and laughter fills banquet halls. In one such gathering, a young man named Nitish Katara attended the wedding of a friend. Nitish was handsome, charming, 25 years old, a graduate of a prestigious business school. He was working with a tech firm, but more than that, he was known for his easy smile and kind demeanor. Friends described him as someone who could light up a room, someone with no enemies. But that night, he walked into a celebration that would become his last. Among the guests at the wedding was Bharti Yadav, a young woman from one of Delhi's most powerful political families. Bharti and Nitish were more than friends. For years, they had been in love. Their relationship was no secret to their close circle. They went to movies, dinners, exchanged gifts, and dreamed of a future together. But to Bharti's family, the Yadavs, this love was unacceptable. The Yadavs were no ordinary family. Bharti's father was a prominent politician. Her brothers, Vikas and Vishal, were known for their arrogance, their sense of untouchable power. They saw themselves as protectors of family honor, and in their eyes, Nitish, despite his education and background, was not worthy of their sister. To them, his love was an insult, and in the rigid codes of honor they lived by, such insults could only be erased with blood. That night, February 17th, Nitish danced with Bharti at the wedding. They smiled, whispered, shared the joy of being together. But lurking nearby were her brothers, watching. Vikas Yadav seethed with rage. He had warned Nitish before to stay away. But Nitish had refused to end the relationship. To Vikas, this defiance demanded punishment. As the wedding drew to a close, Vikas and his cousin Vishal approached Nitish. They were friendly, almost too friendly. They invited him for a late-night drive. Nitish, unsuspecting, agreed. After all, they were Bharti's brothers. What harm could come? The three men left the wedding hall together in a Tata Safari SUV. It was the last time Nitish was seen alive. What happened next was brutal. According to later investigations, Vikas and Vishal drove Nitish to a secluded area near Ghaziabad. There, under the cover of night, they attacked him. He was beaten savagely with a hammer, his skull fractured. Then, they set his body on fire. By morning, all that remained was a charred corpse, barely recognizable. The news spread quickly. Nitish Katara was missing. His mother, Neelam Katara, frantic, searched for answers. Days later, his body was found, burned beyond recognition, identified only by a watch and fragments of clothing. For his family, the grief was unbearable, but alongside their grief came resolve. Neelam Katara swore she would fight until the killers were brought to justice. The investigation pointed immediately to Vikas and Vishali Vij. Witnesses recalled seeing them leave with Nitish that night. Their car was traced. Forensic evidence tied them to the crime. Yet, from the beginning, the case was mired in the shadow of political influence. The Yadav family was powerful. They used threats, bribes, intimidation. Witnesses began to disappear. Bharti, whose testimony could have been crucial, left for London, avoiding court summons for years. The case dragged, delayed by adjournments, excuses, and manipulation. But Neelam Katara refused to give up. A petite woman with unshakable determination, she became the face of a mother's fight for justice in India. She attended every hearing, spoke to the media, rallied public opinion. She refused to be silenced by fear or power. Her voice grew louder each year. My son was killed for love. I will not let his killers go free. The trial became one of India's most watched. Each hearing exposed more of the arrogance of the Yadavs. Vikas, in court, often appeared defiant, smirking. Supporters from his political clan crowded the courtroom, attempting to intimidate. But the tide of public opinion had turned. India had begun to change. Television channels ran nightly debates. Newspapers highlighted Neelam Katara's courage. Ordinary citizens saw in her fight a reflection of their own frustration with a system that too often bent before the powerful. Finally, in 2008, after 6 long years, Vikas and Vishal Yadav were convicted of kidnapping and murdering Nitish Katara. They were sentenced to life imprisonment. The verdict brought tears of relief to Neelam's eyes. But the Yadavs did not give up. They filed appeals, dragged the case into higher courts. Years passed. In 2014, the Delhi High Court upheld their conviction and increased their sentence to 25 years without parole, plus an additional 5 years for destroying evidence. In 2015, the Supreme Court of India confirmed the judgment. After more than a decade, justice was sealed. But what does justice mean when a life has been taken? Nitish would never return. His dreams of love, marriage, a career, all were reduced to ashes on a lonely road. His only crime was loving the wrong woman in the wrong family. And the truth remains chilling. In many parts of India, love can still be a death sentence. The Nitish Katara case became a landmark. It highlighted the dangers of honor killings, where families, obsessed with caste, status, or power, take it upon themselves to kill in the name of honor. It showed how deeply privilege can corrupt justice, and how only relentless struggle can overcome it. Above all, it showed the power of a mother's fight. Nitish Katara's voice, unwavering through years of courtrooms and intimidation, became a beacon. She proved that persistence can outlast power, that truth can withstand intimidation, that even in a flawed system, justice can be forced to appear. Day, when people remember his smile, his love story cut short, and his mother's indomitable courage. His case is taught as an example in law schools, cited in judgments, and remembered in debates on women's rights and honor crimes. Yet the haunting question lingers. How many Nitishes still fall in silence, their names never reaching headlines, their killers never punished? As we end tonight's story, remember that these are not just tales of the past. They are warnings. Warnings about love crushed by arrogance, justice delayed by power, and families destroyed by violence. Nitish Katara's story matters because it reminds us that justice is never automatic. It must be fought for. And if you are here with us tonight, listening to his story, you are part of keeping his memory alive. Share this story, speak his name, and subscribe to Crimson Narratives, because as long as we continue telling these stories, the victims are never truly silenced.